Hey, it's Randy from Funeral Funds of America. In this video, I'm going to share with you the actual pricing for $5,000 worth of burial, cremation, final expense, life insurance, or funeral funds for a 68-year-old female. Now, first thing I'd recommend is going directly to our website, and we have these quotes on just about every single page. And all you need to do is just select the state that you live in. We're licensed in all 50 states, by the way. Select the coverage amount, put your birthday in there, fill out the rest of the info, click the Get Quotes Now, and it will take you to a page that's going to show the best companies with the lowest pricing. And this will do two things. This will help you avoid those policies that advertise really low teaser rates, and then they always end up costing way more after they try to upsell you. And it'll help you avoid those plans with 2-year waiting periods, which can be 200% more expensive than first day coverage. Keep in mind also, you can also call us at our toll-free number, 888-862-9456. Now, the first thing that I would recommend for a 68-year-old female looking for $5,000 worth of insurance is really just determining if that's going to be enough for her final expense needs. Now, typically we would be talking about cremation or burial. So let's just start with cremation. The average cost of a cremation these days is between $1,000 to $2,000. That's if you come home in a cardboard box or an urn. If you're going to get cremated and have some sort of a ceremony, that's probably going to cost between $3,500 to $4,500 for some sort of remembrance ceremony or celebration of life ceremony, something like that. So as far as what coverage you would need, we would typically recommend for that cremation where you come home in a cardboard box or an urn, we would typically recommend around $5,000 to $7,000 for that. Now you might be saying, well, hold on, Randy, you said it was only going to cost a maximum like $2,000, and now you're saying I need $5,000 worth of insurance. What's up? Well, what's up is you're 68 years old, and we're kind of hoping you'll still be up at 78, maybe 88, right? So what we want to do is we just want to make sure there's enough plan in there that if you live a long time, your plan's inflation proof, and you don't have to come back and buy coverage later if at all possible. Now, we can certainly help you do that, but most people prefer not to do that. So what that means is, you know, if you live a long time and we've got $5,000, your plan's going to be inflation proof for just years and years and years and years, decades probably. And also, if you do end up dying early, God forbid, right, there's money left over to pay for any other final expenses or maybe outstanding bills or medical expenses or something like that. So it's kind of win-win. You kind of inflation-proof for the long term and have some extra funds just a little bit earlier in the policy life. Now, if you're going to have that cremation and the ceremony, we would probably typically recommend $7,000 to $10,000, $7,000 to $10,000, somewhere in there. Again, you inflation-proof the plan, but you kind of have some extra money up front just in case you didn't get things paid off as quickly as you thought you would. Now, for a burial, the average cost of a burial in the United States right now is right around $10,000. So if you walk into pretty much any funeral home in the United States with the $10,000 check, they'll chances are they're going to get it done. It's hard to imagine that they would just say no and let that check walk out the door and then just go down the street 2 blocks to one of their competitors. But just understand, $10,000, that's what it is today, and it's not going to be a very fancy funeral by any means. That's kind of just a real kind of entry-level type thing. So just keep in mind, at age 68, you know, if you're looking at $5,000 worth of coverage, that's not going to cover a burial. You probably need to start at $10,000, and a lot of people would be going, you know, $10,000, $15,000, possibly $20,000, although generally somewhere between $10,000 to $15,000. Keep in mind, you know, if your budget's tight and you need to start at $10,000, we can always help you add more coverage later. But a lot of times the people that would be looking at adding that $5,000 are doing so because maybe they already have a policy, you know, $5,000 policy or a $10,000 policy from before, and it was enough at the time they got it that they were okay. But now they've been blessed to live quite a few years longer, and now it's not. So now we can actually just help them add more coverage to their existing policy. So kind of win-win. One thing we don't recommend is, you know, getting too much insurance. Like we'll just run into it sometimes where somebody will say, hey, I want to get $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 and leave some money behind for my children. but they're on a fixed or limited income, so it's challenging for them. And occasionally they go, well, if I can't get 50,000, I'm not going to do anything at all. And then all they've done is they've just sentenced their kids to paying their final expense bills when they die. And that's the whole reason they were looking for this policy in the first part. So yeah, don't get greedy, don't get selfish. If all you can afford is a smaller amount, just do a smaller amount, because if you don't have this insurance, your kids are going to end up paying for it, or your family, and chances are they're going to have to put it on a credit card paying 26% interest. So yeah, don't do that to your family. So one thing we always recommend is first day coverage or benefits. We never recommend those 2-year waiting period plans if you can get first day coverage. And so first day coverage, what that means is hypothetically, if your plan were approved and issued today for 10, 15, 20,000, whatever it would be, and you died tomorrow, the insurance company would have to write that check out. And that's exactly what you want. You want first day coverage. It's the best coverage. It's also going to have the lowest pricing. Now, some people will say, you know what, Randy, you're right. I do like that first day coverage, but I'm not in the best of health, and I'm worried I won't qualify. And we say, well, your health is our problem, not your problem, at least when it comes to this insurance. And that's why we work with so many different insurance companies, and they all have different underwriting, and they all have different health questions. And really, 90 to 95% of the time right now, we're getting people first day coverage or benefits. Really, the only time we wouldn't be able to make that happen is if somebody had waited too long and they had some pretty significant health impairments, like maybe they have a terminal illness and they're going to pass away in the next 12 months, or they have dementia or dialysis, or they're in a hospital or in a nursing home. If that were the case, we would typically refer those folks out to a different insurance company. The other thing that seems to happen on a weekly basis, unfortunately, is somebody will call us up and say, hey, we had a family member pass away this last week, and they didn't have insurance, and we don't have any money. Now their body's down at the funeral home, and the funeral home director is not going to do anything till he gets, some cash in his hand. So we need to get this insurance policy really quick so that we can pay the funeral home director to get our family member buried. And we have to let them know that there is no insurance policy in the United States, no insurance company that's going to offer a policy to somebody who's already dead. And it's really sad that the person who died let this happen. They knew they were going to die someday. Probably happened sooner than they thought. They probably thought about getting this insurance someday. And then someday done just showed up a little earlier than they thought. And now their family is struggling to figure out how to pay for this. And, most families, when they do this, they got to put it on the credit card, 26% interest in it. They're going to be paying on this for years and years and years. And boy, you could have just had the best life up to that point, but this is one way to just ruin your legacy, to, force everybody at the last minute to come up with this money to pay this and everything. So just don't do that. You don't want people resenting you or any of that. This insurance is affordable. And if you need to, you can start at a smaller amount. We can always help you add more coverage later. But yeah, don't be that person that does that to your family. Now, one thing we don't recommend is those plans with 2-year waiting periods. Now, Colonial Penn, they're a fairly well-known company out there. I think it's probably just because they advertise on TV all the time. It seems like every 7 minutes there's a commercial, right? Holy guacamole, right? But yeah, their $9.95 plan, if you did not know this, their $9.95 plan is a 2-year waiting period plan. Ouch. Yes, ouch. You don't want that if you can get first day coverage. Now, Colonial Penn's not the only insurance company out there that sells those 2-year waiting period plans. There's other companies like Mutual of Omaha, their United of Omaha line, AIG, Gerber, just a number of other ones. And, some of these companies out there have done an amazing job of convincing the American public that if you're over age 50, the only thing you're going to qualify for is a plan with a 2-year waiting period, to which we always say, don't believe such nonsense. We help people with first day coverage all day long. Yes, we do. Now, our 68-year-old female here is probably just got done watching that Colonial Penn commercial and, $9.95, thinking, oh my gosh, that sounds good. I'm going to get so much coverage. I'm probably going to get $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, maybe even $50,000 for $9.95. And then she calls Colonial Penn and talks with an agent, or pulls up their website like we've done for you here, and finds out that for a 68-year-old female for $9.95, 1 unit of coverage, it's only going to pay out $1,112. Now, $1,112 will pay for a cremation in some parts of the country, probably very few parts of the country actually, but you can probably find a few places. But yeah, it's not going to pay for a cremation in a lot of parts of the country. And even if it did, it wouldn't even matter because it's got a 2-year waiting period, and it's not going to pay if you die in the first 2 years of any health or medical issue. Ouch, right? Why would you get a plan that is so woefully underfunded and woefully inadequate? Yikes. Now, there's some people out there that would say, there's companies out there that they offer these like low teaser rates, $9.95, whatever it is, these low teaser rates. And they would say that the insurance companies actually don't even want to sell you these really low teaser rate plans. What they want those for is to attract you in to get your info and get you on the phone and then upsell you to a more expensive and a more profitable product for them. And, we would never say that about Colonial Penn. But I know some people would. And I guess ultimately you'll have to kind of determine, that based on you're being 68 years old and only being able to get $1,112 for $9.95. But regardless, we're trying to come up with around $5,000. So I'm guessing if 1 unit is $1,100-ish, well, I'm guessing we're going to have to be right around 5 units, and it's going to be a little bit more. Now, Colonial Penn's kind of weird in how they calculate their pricing and everything, because most other companies, you could go and buy a $5,000 policy. Well, Colonial Penn doesn't do that. They do it by units so that they can get that lowest unit of coverage and, advertise it for $9.95, even though it's probably not going to do anything you want it to do. So just keep in mind, you always end up with these kind of wackadoodle numbers, 5560 instead of 5,000. But let's go see what $5,000 would be in first day coverage. Here we go. $5,000, female, age 68. We're going to hit get quote right there. And again, this is $5,000. This is almost $50. $50 right there for roughly 5,000. Look at this. $24. So, that's pretty much half price, right? So yeah, we've got some companies here that are so low in price that Colonial Penn is almost 200% more expensive. Why would you ever pay double for a policy and get right about the same amount of coverage and get smacked with a 2-year waiting period, and you're going to overpay on that premium for the rest of your life? Why would you ever do that? It befuddles me. I do not know. But think about it. It's right around $25 more a month. It's right around $300 a year more. After 10 years, our 68-year-old female will be 78. She will have overpaid roughly $3,000 to go with Colonial Penn on a policy that only covers $5,000. Oh, yeah. Ooh, mama. I mean, holy cow. You need to be a smarter consumer than that, right? Now, here's the thing, though. If you're not a smart consumer or you just don't know, let us help you be a smart consumer, because you should not double overpay. Let's look at a couple other companies. Well, you'll be able to see all these different companies here. But let's find. Here's one, like Lincoln Heritage. They're a fine company, I guess. But man, look at that pricing. They're higher, yeah. So now it's level coverage, first day coverage, but it's higher pricing. And here's the deal. So Lincoln Heritage has a deal where when you pass away, they will supposedly call 2 or 3 different funeral homes to get the best pricing, maybe do a couple other things, but they don't do that for free. No, they charge money for that. Why would they do that for free? They don't. So we're roughly $36 versus, roughly $24. So about $12 more a month. And that you may go, well, that doesn't seem like much. Well, it's $144 a year. And you go, well, maybe that may not seem like much. Well, multiply that times 10 years. That's $1,440. And you go, well, that may not seem like much, but here's the deal. So think about this. Is it worth $1,440 more or less for an insurance company to call 2 or 3 funeral homes and do a couple other things that might only take an hour or so to do? Most people would say that's a pretty good dang payday for the insurance company. We don't recommend that. So what we actually recommend is getting better price insurance. And some companies are different. I can tell you some companies are different. And if a policy's costs 30 cents more than another one, sometimes it's worth getting a company like this instead of a company like this. And or even a company like this, we can help you understand exactly why we might recommend one company over another. But what we do recommend is getting the lower premium amount, and then we actually provide free of charge on our website a free funeral and estate planning guide. You can print that out and you can download it and print it out. And once it's printed out, you just fill it out and you write who gets what and what goes where and what you want done after you're gone. And then you keep that with your insurance policy. And then when you pass away, your family's going to be protected both financially with the insurance policy, but also emotionally, because you will have just written down everything that you want to happen after you're gone. And what a wonderful blessing to leave behind, that they don't have to worry about this. All they need to do is execute your wishes, and they've got the money to do it from the insurance policy. And what a gift of love. They will know that you not only love them in life, but you actually cared enough about them and loved them enough to protect them in death when you wouldn't even be here. What a wonderful legacy to leave behind. So, yeah, just what a great way to finish your life, just loving your family. So go to funeralfunds.com, and we've got a special quote for our YouTube viewers, funeralfunds.com/YouTube, and you can get the best rates and the lowest discounts there. We've got a special one there for you. You can also call us at 888-862-9456. One of our agents can help you understand your options or just answer any questions you have. But if you've got an existing policy and you want us to price shop it to see if we can get you better rates and save you money, we can help you out with that. If you want to add coverage to an existing policy, we can help out with that. If you are looking for a brand new policy or just have some questions, we can help you with that too. So we look forward to the day when we can help you get the most amount of coverage for the least amount of money. We will be blessed to meet you someday and help you with this. Until that day comes, you stay safe, you take care, you have a nice day. Bye-bye.